except where them hands, where them holes, where them throws, you know what I'm saying?
First, let me stop this. No, I'm not going to stop it. I'm just going to move this over. All right, first, I'm going to give a shout out to the Gracie breakdown of this because they did a really good breakdown, and they really did a really good breakdown from a jiu-jitsu standpoint and a it's my job to arrest people standpoint. Okay? I don't know the Gracies, they don't know me, but I'm not afraid to say good job when I see good job. So I recommend, in addition to watching what I'm going to say, you take a look at their breakdown too. But my breakdown of this is several things. One, this is proof of why we don't allow you to kick on the ground in Taekwondo competitions, because this is actually what I would consider to be Taekwondo ground fighting. I've said Taekwondo ground fighting technically is kicking on the ground. Kicking on the ground is dangerous. That's why we don't like for you to kick on the ground. I have another video where I talked about how, look at what happened basically in an MMA match when someone actually kicked on the ground. Knocked the person right out. Now, from a Kyusho Jitsu standpoint, pressure point standpoint, however you want to look at it, I'm going to talk about it now before we show and comment as I go. He kicked her here on the hip. Usually, you see, you probably can't tell, I'm doing this to myself. Look at this. Now you can see how my body's reacting. It's hard for this to register when you're doing it on yourself, but look, when you strike somebody here on the hip, it makes them rock back. Basically, anytime you strike someone below the waist, they move back like this and the body rocks forward. When he kicks her, he kicked her along the inside of here. He got her at triple yin point. Then he came across and kicked her in the side of the neck / base of the skull here, because that shoe impacted here. And then he came down almost caught her right on a good stomach 5, right? He had technically already knocked her out with 3. The Kyusho rules are if you get 3 good hits, that's like a standing knockout. 4, you can knock the person down and possibly kill them. Let me stop. I'm saying too much. Anyway, he got it up to 4 because when he hit her 1, 2, 3, and then when he kicked her again for the 4th, he knocked her down. And not only did he knock her down, he knocked her way back. And she fell on the train tracks and she could have possibly died. Okay? So this is a good example of why we don't allow ground fighting in kick arts. And ground fighting where you use kicking techniques. Unless you're with me, and I haven't allowed my students to kick yet on the ground because you guys haven't really gotten to be that advanced. The only person I've really done kicking with on the ground are my 2 kids, and that's just because they're my children. It's because they got high enough up in my system where I could trust them with that. This type of stuff I would save for after black belt, where I know they got control. I tried it a couple of times myself I remember one time I tried it on a student when he got the brown belt, the autistic guy had, and I couldn't Kazushio. But I was trying to do it more like a leg grappling instead of just striking like I know if I did it would get him. But anyway, the second thing that this shows, and I promise you I'm going to play the clip, is why we have weight classes. He's a lot bigger than her. That definitely facilitates his ability to kick her because he's so much bigger than her. Okay? The third thing that it proves is why we don't let men and women fight each other in combat sports. This was a man that kicked a woman, and he kicked a much smaller woman. And you know how in kicking arts they say the leg is the most powerful part of the body. That's why you use it to strike in Taekwondo. Look at how powerful the man's legs are against her entire female body. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to play and I'm just going to give commentary second by second. If there's any profanity in here, I apologize, okay? So, any parents that are watching with their child, I'm sorry if there's any cussing. You can just turn the sound down on that.
I can take pain, girl. Break the leg.
I can take pain, girl. Break the neck. The Gracies talk about pain compliance. I'm not going to go into that here too much. But one thing he's doing too that I forgot to mention before, this is what I call it, well, not just me, this is what Mark McYoung, that's where I got it from, calls interviewing or the interview. He is telling them what he's going to do. And I don't know why people do this, but they do. When it's not war, when it's civilian violence, hey, I'm about to bust you in your face. So you can't act like you're surprised the person tries to punch you when they're going to punch you. He said, I can take pain. So he's basically saying, you're not holding me down tight enough. You need to use some pain compliance to control me or else you're going to regret it. And they didn't. And the main mistake they make here, I left this comment on the Gracie video. They are not controlling his hips. What does your martial arts teacher tell you? You get your power from your hips. They're not controlling his hips. They're trying to control his neck like he's a snake. That's fine for snakes. If you've ever held a snake down by the neck or the head, you notice the rest of the snake body is still flopping. So they didn't hold him down by his neck and by his hips or by his spine near his hips. So that's why he's flopping all over the place and they're going to pay for it.
Then break the neck. Put your hand, put your foot on my neck. That's right. Break it. Break it. Break it.
See, he's testing.
Put more pressure on it.
He's testing to see if he
You're
can
not breaking my neck good.
He realized he can
Break the neck. Put your weight on it.
like I said. Now, he can move his hips. So he moved himself to where he could see her. And then he started kicking. Now, let me back up a little bit. You see how he struck her on the inside of the leg right above the foot? Like I said, when you kick below the waist in a weak spot, that part of the body moves back and it makes the upper part of the body rock forward. So he did that because he knows probably from violence experience, if not training. Because the more I look at this, the more I'm like, this dude knows something. And he may not have sat in the white pajamas like I have, but he knows something. He got some knowledge from somewhere, even if he hadn't learned it the hard way. He know if I kick her there, she gonna lose her leg. Her leg gonna come out from under her. He knows that. Okay, so he kicked her. He went one. Use this foot to prop. So that's pressing against these pressure points in the back of the head here. And then kicked. He like slapped. He actually, when he kicked, it was like a kick hold. So he braced her when he kicked her with his feet.
He's wildin'.
He's not wilding. He knows what he's doing.
Oh my God, Falcon. Oh no. Oh my God.
And that was it. One, inside of the leg, right above the ankle. Two, back of the neck. I cannot remember what this pressure point's called. Gallbladder 15. Gallbladder 20. I'm gonna call it gallbladder 20. So he hit her. He hit her in the I'll say one either here or triple yin, right in here, on the inside of the leg, above the ankles, right in here. If you can feel it on yourself, like I'm rubbing right now, you can feel the weak spots in there. Gallbladder 20, stomach 5, and then the pressure points right on the front of the hip. 1, 2, 3, 4, using a rule of 4 that knocks the person flat or knocks them on their back. And then she falls. And she falls right into an area where she could have almost died. So do we really need to go back through this again? So let me see if I can get it back to just the technical part, just the technique. 1, 2,
Oh, 3. He's wildin'.
She's dazed. She's dazed. Look at her. She's dazed.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
Falcon. Oh no,
Yep.
no. Oh my God.
Now she was dazed. I don't know. I didn't see. That's why Mark McYoung's advice of if you look at the security camera footage to watch it over and over again. I read that in one of his forums years ago. It has served me so well. He set her up. He set her up according to classical George Dillman pressure point training, the George Dillman Art Mason side of the game. Really, that's more my influence, more than Evan Pantazzi's and Dwayne's Harper stuff too. But yeah, everybody would agree. Whether they're gonna say it's 5-element theory or not, everybody can agree that he hit her in the perfect sequential parts of the body. Not only that, he also did quadrant theory. That's why I'm like, this dude knows something. Either by academic study or just by experience. He did that was perfect, like quadrant theory. That's basically where the best way I can explain quadrant theory in the simplest terms is like one of my scout masters when I was in Boy Scouts told us, distract the person down on the body low if you want to hit them high. If you want to go after something up high, you go down low. Like we would do the thing where if somebody grabs you, you want to get your hands out of there. You want to get your wrist out of their hands, but they grab you by their hands. Don't just yank first. Hit them low, and then their brain goes down to where you hit them, and then you yank your hands out. That's what a lot of people would teach you anyway. That's how I teach. That's how I was taught when I finally got into former classes when I got older. He hit her low right above the ankle to get her to come forward. And in judo, that would be kazushi, off balancing. So he'd already off balanced her. Then he hit her high on the back here, gallbladder. So we would have. I'm gonna stop this, and I'm gonna look this. I'm gonna look up the elements before I do the last 5 minutes of this. He kicked her low. Then he came here with gallbladder because I have a feeling he may have went in a destructive sequence. I'm gonna see. And then he came here to here. That's wood to earth if you do an element theory. But basically, he shocked her brain low and then on both sides of her head. And then when he kicked her in the front, then he's shocking the brain on the front. He's making her mind go all over the place so that it can't figure out where it's going. And like I said, for the rule of 3 in pressure point knockout, that's what I call it. When you hit somebody 3 times properly, whether they know it or not, they are TKO'd. It's a technical knockout on their feet. They TKO'd. So she was dazed. That's if you look at how she's moving here. I'm telling you, look at this. Look at how she's moving here.
Oh my God, Falcon. Oh no.
Before she takes that kick, let me see if I can get it good. I probably have to go right after the head kick.
Blind kick. Wildin'.
Let me see if I can.
Oh, kick her in the face.
See that? Alright, just watch how she's moving. She's moving a lot now, right? Look at her body. Look at how her body's controlling.
Oh, kick her in the face.
See how she's not moving as much as she slowed down? It's not because she's feeling with herself. That woman is dazed whether she knows it or not.
Oh my
See
God,
how slow she's
Falcon.
moving?
Oh no.
If she moves
Oh
too
my
slow,
God.
because she was dazed.
This is New York. Oh my God, this is crazy.
I'm gonna pause for a second. All right, so I am looking in this book, and I looked in this book, and I looked in George Dillman's first book, which I've worn out so much that the cover is gone. So Just any book by Dillman. So basically, he attacked along the meridian. He attacked along the meridian because if you want to say above the ankle was spleen 6. And so if you want to say that's spleen 6. Actually, yeah, he did attack along the meridian, but he hit the triple yin point, I'm thinking. But he probably only got the spleen 6. But that was enough to off balance her to the front. So, but that's still wood. And I think that's wood yin, right? Yes, that's wood yin. But that was enough to off balance her to the front. So that's a combo Kyusho and judo principle. Then when he came up above the head, he kicked her back here in gallbladder 20. That's jumping to a different meridian. The attack along the meridian is really from the lower spleen to the final strike above the hips. Both of those are spleens. So both of those are wood. So he went from low wood and he came up and hit back here. So he went from yin to yang. Gallbladder is still wood. So that's a yin yang principle. Okay. Now, when he's doing the strike here with his feet, that's very similar to this motion of the hands that you see in forms. So he's doing that with the feet. That's the motion here. So that's showing me that just because you practice something with your hands, that doesn't mean that you just do it with your hands. You can also do it with your feet. So that's what he did. He pressed here. So he kicked, held, hit here. That's the same motion. That's teaching your brain to hit the body coming from two different angles. So he went gallbladder and then downward on stomach 5. To me, I'm thinking it's stomach 5. That's wood to earth. It's still not a good activation of stomach 5. It would have been better to come upward for stomach 5, but it's probably enough to just irritate it. Because the coup de grace is right here. And this is the best book I have that shows it. It's Sang H. Kim's book. He calls it Return and Arrive. Stomach 29. So that's like wood to wood. It was yin to yang. And then my boy went down the meridian. Yang. He went wood to earth. So you got wood to earth cycle of destruction. But then he came back on the meridian again and hit here. So he went off the meridian, back. But then when he's coming from here to here, from the stomach 5 to stomach 29, that's attacking along the meridian. So he went low, high, 2. That's quadrant theory, splitting up the body to confuse the brain. What's happening? She was already TKO'd by the time he got to here. She's already TKO'd. And then he finished it off by going on the meridian again and kicking her. Now, did he say all this in his brain when he was doing it? He may have, because he was telling them, I'm going to kick you in the face. So he had a plan to kick you in the face. He knew what to do to kick somebody in the face. So let me read this real quick. Return and Arrive, stomach 29. This is the iliohypogastric nerve. Techniques that are effective are front pushing kick. He did a side kick. Front pushing kick, side kick, and back kick. He did a side kick from the ground. So let me play this up here. You can freeze this here and take a look at it. If you can zoom in and freeze on the camera. Freeze it and come back and take a look at it. Zoom in. Anyway, just get a hold of this book among many others. Thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this with people who like to talk about the martial arts. And peace. And thank you for your time. I know I said I was done, but I want to go through this really slow though.
Put your hand, put your foot on my neck. That's right. Break it. Break it. Break it. Put more pressure on it. You're not breaking my neck good. Break the neck. Put your weight on it.
Remember, he gets his hips up, turns to the side. We have already caught it there, but it wasn't deep enough to penetrate. Here we go. And 1. He aggravated spleen 6 with the scraping on the inside. 2, 3. He hit stomach 20. He hit gallbladder 20 on the back of the head, stomach 5 on the front of the face. And you see how when he kicked her, she turned around? That looked involuntary to me. So let me rewind this.
He's wildin'.
Let me get this.
Flying kick. Oh my God, Falcon. Oh no! Oh my
I
God!
missed it.
This is New York. Oh my God, this is
I
crazy.
missed it. Excuse my technical ineptitude. Here we go. Really study this, y'all, because y'all can make use of this in self-defense. 1, 2, 3.
He's wildin'.
He's going so fast, it's hard for me to keep up.
Flying kick.
And right on
Oh
the
my
front.
God,
So
Falcon.
we play
Oh
down.
no!
So let me see if I can slow this down. I've slowed down the playback speed, so let me see if I can get it so I can give a better commentary and analysis so we can really see what's happening. Okay, here we go. That's it. All right, look at there. Straight, kick the back of the head, kick stomach 5. So she's already TKO'd because of 3 hits. Let me go back and do it again. He's going so fast. He's slowing it down. You can't see it. All right, here we go. Spleen 6 straight. Gallbladder 20 kick to the back of the head. Stomach 5 stomp in the face. She's dazed. She's dazed. Kicks her, comes 29, and she goes back. She's knocked down.
Oh my
With a prone
God!
side kick.
This is New York! Oh my!
Okay, so spleen 6 above the ankle, gallbladder 20, back of the head, a kick and hold. Stomach 5 stomp to the chin on the other side of the head. So the spleen 6 kick, the spleen kick, scraping kick is on the left side of her body. Gallbladder 20 kicking to the left back of her head. Stomach 5 strike to the right side of her chin. And then when she turns back around, stomach 29 kick to the right side of her body. He went both sides of the body. Quadrant theory, yin to yang, cycle of destruction, and attacking along the meridian. It looked like he was wilding out, but that's actually a very sophisticated attack. So, homeless man knows something. I'm arguing homeless man knew something, whether he learned it by violence experience or by training. And now I'll finally say, thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this with people who like to talk about the martial arts. Peace. Thank you for your time. And pray for that lady. I hope she wasn't hurt too bad. Peace. And pray for the homeless guy, too, that he can find shelter.
Where them kicks at? Where them hands? Where them holes? Where them throws? You know what I'm saying?